Involvement in the 1999 Club New York shooting. It was just another glitzy night at Club New York with the music and bottles pumping and popping, and Diddy was there with his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, probably dancing the night away. However, things escalated faster than the beat of a Sean Combs remix when a scuffle broke out and shots were fired inside the club. 3 people were injured. Now, here's where it gets even crazier, because instead of sticking around to sort out the mess, Diddy, J-Lo, and a driver hightailed it out of the club faster than Sonic the Hedgehog. However, a few blocks away, the cops pulled them over, and guess what was found in the car? A gun. And, well, 2 + 2 = 4, so Diddy was quickly arrested and hit with criminal possession of a weapon and bribery because, apparently, Diddy tried to convince his driver to claim the gun as his. This trial was the legal equivalent of Diddy's song Can't Stop, Won't Stop because it lasted 7 weeks and was covered like it was the Super Bowl of celebrity drama. And as for Diddy, his entire defense was that he didn't do anything. However, after months of back and forth, the jury finally acquitted Diddy on old charges in 2001. And as for the gun that was found, there wasn't enough evidence to tie it directly to Diddy because his defense team managed to cast doubt on the gun's ownership. And the bribery charge didn't hold up because, legally speaking, it's tough to prove beyond reasonable doubt who said what when everyone's just trying to get out of a sticky situation. Alleged role in Tupac Shakur's murder. So, if you were born in the mid-90s, you'd know that the rap world then was like a giant game of musical chairs with gangster rap at the center. But instead of trying to sit down, rappers were standing up, getting in each other's faces, and unfortunately, shooting back and forth, both literally and figuratively. Now, on the West Coast, you had Tupac Shakur, a larger-than-life figure who could rap about love and revolution, then turn around and deliver hard-hitting diss tracks. And on the East Coast, you had the notorious B.I.G., aka Biggie Smalls, who was under the wing of none other than Sean Puffy Combs. And, well, when there are 2 rap kings in the same area, there's bound to be serious beef and rivalry. Tupac and his management were beefing Diddy and B.I.G., and the hate was reciprocated with the same energy. However, on September 7th, 1996, Tupac was leaving a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas when he was gunned down in a drive-by shooting. He was hit 4 times, and tragically, he died 6 days later. Some claim that Diddy might have had a hand in Tupac's murder to protect his East Coast empire and his biggest star at the time, the notorious B.I.G. They suggested that Diddy felt the only way to end the West Coast dominance led by Tupac and Suge Knight of Death Row Records was to take out their biggest star. Apparently, Diddy hired gang members from the Crips to kill Tupac as a way to send a message to Suge Knight and Death Row Records. It's like an extreme version of, if you can't beat 'em, eliminate 'em. Now, the craziest part of this allegation is that there's 0 evidence that Diddy had anything to do with Tupac's murder. Zilch. Nada. He's never even been charged, and the entire theory relies heavily on speculation, hearsay, and the desire to make sense of an unsolved case. Alleged role in the notorious B.I.G.'s murder. Just to give a little backstory, Biggie Smalls, aka the notorious B.I.G., was Diddy's protege and the biggest star of his Bad Boy Records label. Their friendship was legendary, like Peanut Butter and Jelly, Batman and Robin, or Netflix and Your Couch. They made some of the most iconic tracks of the 90s, and Diddy was Biggie's ride or die. So when Biggie was tragically murdered in a drive-by shooting on March 9th, 1997, just 6 months after Tupac Shakur's death, the rap world was shaken. Now, you'd expect Diddy to look like a devastated friend and business partner after Biggie's death, right? Well, that's not what happened. In fact, Mr. Diddy Combs was out partying and having the time of his life. This is where conspiracy theories and allegations start pouring in. One theory claims that Diddy orchestrated Biggie's murder for financial gain. The idea here is that by getting rid of Biggie, Diddy could secure more control over Biggie's music rights and royalties. It's like the rap world's version of a corporate takeover, but there's a drive-by instead of paperwork. However, since most of the accusations against Diddy did not have any evidence backing them up, no charges were ever labeled against him. Plus, these two were like brothers, and Puff consistently spoke about how devastated he was by Biggie's death. His tribute song, I'll Be Missing You, was one of the biggest biggest hits of the year, and the emotional rawness was palpable. If Diddy were involved in Biggie's murder, that would be a level of backstabbing even Game of Thrones couldn't imagine. Allegations of homophobia. Aside from changing his name so many times and throwing epic parties, Puff Daddy has also had to deal with some serious allegations of homophobia, which, to put it simply, is when people are accused of having negative feelings or attitudes towards LGBTQ+ folks. Now, for years, different people have been whispering rumors about Diddy's sexuality. It's like every other month there's a new Diddy's gay headline. Now, the problem is that Diddy has been responding to these allegations a bit too defensively, which some people found a bit suspect. You know, kind of like when your mom claims they're not mad but gives you the stink eye for 2 days straight. You see, hip-hop in the 90s and early 2000s wasn't exactly the most welcoming place for the LGBTQ+ community, and Diddy, being one of the biggest names in the game, was kind of like the captain of that problematic ship. He has been basically accused of dropping some homophobic comments in interviews or music lyrics, which, surprise surprise, didn't age well. Plus, his reactions to the gay accusations made it look like being gay is a bad thing, which is really not cool. But then, in the weirdest Uno reverse situation ever, Diddy has been accused of having sexual intercourse with men. In fact, this is one of the highlights in some of his weird freak-off parties, and several male artists have come out to say that Diddy basically did them. Allegations of abuse by Kim Porter. Diddy and Kim Porter's relationship was like the soap opera of the celebrity world. They met in the early 90s, dated, broke up, got back together, broke up again, broke up, got back together again, and the toxic cycle just kept happening till they officially called it quits in 2007. But behind the scenes, things weren't always as glamorous as they seemed on the glossy magazine covers. Apparently, throughout the relationship, Puff Daddy practically turned Kim Porter into his personal punching bag. It's been reported that Diddy was controlling and manipulative in their relationship. He would emotionally abuse and torture Porter by using derogatory words on her often. He set up secret cameras and put tracking devices on her phone, car, everything. Eventually, close friends and family began to see that the charming public figure persona Diddy often portrayed to the public was just a facade to hide who he truly was. Now, things take a turn for the worse when Kim Porter suddenly dies from complications of pneumonia in 2018. This really caused a lot of uproar because how does a 47-year-old woman who was moving around healthy a few days ago suddenly drop dead from pneumonia? Well, people suspected Diddy of murdering his wife because allegedly Kim Porter was writing a book to reveal everything that's been going on in her so-called perfect life. Now, even the first coroner who checked her dead body suspected foul play, and when he was instructed to reopen Kim Porter's case to verify her original cause of death, he was suddenly found dead in his LA residence from natural causes. Yeah, right. Alleged connection to Peola scandals. So, picture this. You wake up on Monday morning and scroll through your Instagram reels, and 9 of the 10 videos you watched played the same music. You leave that connection to Apple Music. The same song is playing in all the top 100 charts. You head to the gym, and again, the same music over the radio. And this has happened for 1 week straight. Eventually, whether you even like the music or not, it would start to grow on you. Now, the crime Diddy has been allegedly accused of here is being the fairy godmother who makes sure the songs keep playing everywhere 24/7. This act is called Peola practice, and in the early 2000s, the Peola Scandal became a hot topic in the music industry. Record labels were accused of bribing radio stations to get more airtime for their songs, and with Bad Boy Records being one of the biggest and most successful labels of the 90s and early 2000s, Diddy's name got tossed around as someone who might have benefited from the pay-for-play system. Record labels were found to have been bribing radio stations with cash, vacations, and fancy electronics in exchange for playing specific songs more frequently. Physical altercations and assault allegations. Now, if you by chance know Diddy personally or know anyone who knows him, then you know that one thing about him is his temper and pride. And this hot temper has landed him in trouble many, many times. The first big one happened in 1998, and Diddy, being the king of I Get What I Want, got mad about a music video where he was depicted as, wait for it, Jesus. Yeah, apparently Puffy wasn't feeling the whole crucifixion look, and when the video hit MTV without cuts, Diddy went full Old Testament on Steve Stout, the music exec behind the scenes. He practically pulled up to Stout's New York City office with two other guys and attacked him with a champagne bottle. Diddy was charged with second-degree assault and criminal mischief because Stout claimed his arm and jaw was broken in the attack, even though Diddy denied everything. Nothing major came out of this charge though, and Puff was sentenced to just 1-day anger management class. In 2004, Diddy was involved in an alleged fight at a nightclub in Miami, but this time, the drama was a little more intimate. A man named Gerard Reichnitzer accused Diddy of punching him in the face after an argument over Diddy hitting on his girlfriend. Allegedly, Diddy was feeling extra smooth and decided to try his hand at some flirting, which didn't sit well with Reichnitzer. Fast forward to 2015, when Diddy once again found himself in hot water. He allegedly got into a physical altercation with a UCLA football coach. Apparently, his son Justin Combs was a member of the UCLA football team, and Diddy reportedly didn't take too kindly to the way coach Sal Alosi was treating him during practice. Diddy allegedly confronted the coach at the UCLA athletic facility, which escalated into a physical fight. And Diddy's choice of weapon was a kettlebell. Yes, one of those heavy weights used for workouts. Well, he was arrested on charges of assault with a deadly weapon, making terrorist threats, and battery. Imagine getting charged with terrorist threats over a workout disagreement. The charges were eventually dropped, with prosecutors deciding not to proceed with the case. Allegations of sex trafficking. Now, it's one thing to be a billionaire who loves to party and beat up people occasionally, and then it's another thing to be a literal sex trafficker. Allegedly, this guy has been trafficking women and little children as slaves for all those weird white parties, aka freak-offs, and God knows what else. Over the years, several people like Allie Carter, who is allegedly one of the girls that managed to escape, have come out to publicly announce that this man is actually a monster, but a lot of people didn't believe. She even alleges that Diddy has an underground tunnel that runs through his celebrity mansion in Miami and other areas of the state, and that is how they move the cargo around. Now, the story actually gets even weirder and honestly more believable because just a few weeks back, port workers at the Miami seaport all went on strike because they were tired of hearing cries in the port at odd hours coming from the shipping containers. To add to this, Diddy's mansion in Miami is literally directly opposite of the freaking seaport. Talk about a convenient location. Now, that's not all, because apparently some of Diddy's shipping containers all have ventilators inside. And people don't normally use ventilators unless they're carrying cargo that's living. And we all know that Diddy is everything but not a farmer. So, you do the math. Allegations of drug abuse and sexual exploitation. Throughout all these accusations, one thing's crystal clear. People are coming forward about the wild ride of abuse and torment Diddy allegedly put them through. And the accusations are honestly as intense as his music career. And what's crazy is that these lawsuits all have a common theme and pattern. Diddy corners, then repeatedly drugs, and grapes the victims. Take the lawsuit filed by Rodney Jones Jr., aka Little Rod, who's a record producer from Chicago. Little Rod didn't just drop beats, he dropped a 105-page federal lawsuit against Diddy. He accuses the man himself and his crew of running a secret illegal drug ring that made the wildest Coachella party look like a church bake sale. We're talking ecstasy, cocaine, ketamine, and even mushrooms. Little Rod claims Diddy had him acting like a personal drug dealer and a professional errand boy tasked with procuring everything from narcotics to workers and, brace yourself, even minors for some truly twisted parties. And it wasn't just about acquiring these party favors, because Little Rod alleges that Diddy ordered him to record these explicit acts, like a real-life X-rated director, and if he refused, Combs would threaten to beat him to a pulp. Apparently, the diddler also had specific bottles of alcohol reserved only for the ladies, and of course, they were spiked with ecstasy. Diddy would even manhandle handle Little Rod during these twisted events, or worse, force him to sit and watch the whole thing go down. Accusations of witness bullying and tampering with evidence. If you are a fan of mob movies, then you'll know that witness bullying and evidence tampering are practically part of the gangster's starter pack, and apparently Sean Diddy Combs was taking notes. Basically, witness bullying is when someone goes full bad cop using intimidation, threats, or manipulation to keep a witness quiet or make them forget what they saw. It's like a not-so-subtle reminder that your words might come with consequences, like your car suddenly catching fire, or worse, you and your family members getting harmed. The whole point is to use scare tactics and threats to intimidate people out of becoming a witness against you in court. Now, tampering with evidence is next level because now you're basically deleting files, breaking phones, shredding papers, and wiping security footage that are implicating. One of the reasons why this is even a problem for Diddy was because 4 days before his arrest, he called a woman named Kalena Harper 58 times, and apparently Ms. Harper was supposed to come testify against Diddy on the charges of rape and abuse. But surprise, surprise, after the harassing phone calls, she came on social media and denied ever seeing or hearing anything. To make matters worse, he would even pay hotel owners to give him the surveillance footage they captured of him physically abusing Cassie back in 2016. But thankfully, karma's got a sense of humor, because as a result of these crimes, Mr. Combs was denied bail twice because the judge said she could not trust him to not intimidate witnesses or worse, try to flee.